Hello, good people. This is Emmanuel Sanyu Safali, an insurance practitioner for a number of years, right from the time I left school. At Makerere University doing actuarial science. Of course, this whole topic has been triggered by the events that happened at Makerere University and the whole misconception of how insurance works in this world. So, this Promise show is going to bring to you the captains of trade of this industry, the insurance world. They are going to tell us, of course, we're going to know who they are and what they stand for. Then we have to know the what they are promising. What is that service they are promising, the procedures and the exclusions. Then the how, we need to know the procedures, because in this industry, this service is about paying claims. We want to know how quick and how soon they are going to be delivered to the customer. At the end of the day, we need to see a more happy customer. Then lastly, we need to know the how, So there's a lot in stock for you. Let's tune in after the break to hear more of this interesting journey that we have begun that is going to see the growth of this industry and also better service. What is that promise in technology, in the service, in the promptness, name it. We need to know how we can utilize this service, the insurance service, to better cope in this COVID season, but also to better prepare for those worst catastrophes that are yet to come. For our businesses, for our homes, for ourselves, health, there are so many interesting topics that are going to be inspiring you to join this industry. Thank you. Please come back after the break. Thank you. Welcome back from the short break. Emmanuel again, bring you the promise that is bring a whole new space of different services. Many times as risk management solution providers, we have been accused of being fraudsters, thieves, of not delivering what we have promised. But now we want to bring this topic and bring to you the people who are handling this, who are going to deliver these promises and give us their promise, give us their visions and missions of how they are going to deliver all this for us. And I think there's a lot in stock for us. Let me just give you a brief of what this program is all about and the services that we are offering. First of all, it came to me to start this program when I became a survivor myself and a beneficiary of the insurance world, insurance space. I'll tell you, I had been practicing this industry or this profession of risk management solutions for about 11 years. And I had taken some risks for granted. But if I tell a brief story, I'm a survivor. When you see this cut, my producer will show you more shots. Possibly we shall get some photos of when I was in the hospital. But I survived a nasty accident after I suffered an attack by Chifesi on 3rd of March, 8th of March, sorry, this year, 2020. And I had an operation on the head where they had to remove 2 blood clots at Case Clinic by Dr. Senyonjo Hussein, and I was impressed. So I come to you humbled, but also better than ever, having more hope that this service is more important now more than ever. So let's embrace it, let's take it on. Let's learn more about it. Learn from we learn from the captains of trade themselves. This year has had so many things. It has had Makerere Senate building fire, of which we also, and we were shocked to hear that the building was not insured, yet I'm very sure there are so many proposals that had gone on. But possibly these people who teach us have not practiced enough. So there's a difference between theory and practice. And we have seen a number of course, the pandemic has also changed everything that we're doing. We've seen riots breaking out and destroying people's property. Neighbors, people who are not involved in the strike or in the riots are losing their property. We have seen, of course, medical challenges. Cancer is on the rampage and all that. Liver transplants and all that. But how do you manage and prepare for all those things? You have to prepare for them early before it happens. Don't wait for it to happen and start collecting. We have lost our dignity as Africans. And this is the time that we need to start embracing this industry. Let's build more trust in it. Of course, this program is going to help by bringing more people who are practicing this service, this profession, to give you the hope and the promise, the trust that they are going to deliver this service in the shortest possible ways. Of course, there are so many things that we have inculcated, like technology. We want to know how we can utilize technology to enhance this service better, to make it quicker. You can, at the tap of your phone, or even those who are not having smartphones, we can get this service by use of mobile money, by use of bank assurance. We have stretched out as many distribution channels as possible so that you can get the benefit out of all this, and in the shortest period. So with that said and done, I would like to give you a brief. Of course, as Africans, we have been a victim of shock for far too long. I would say that this insurance industry has been around for about 108 years since the first marine. The first insurance policies were marine insurances. So we shall go through the history of insurance. But as Africans, maybe because of our background, we were colonized, and by the insurance services were actually discriminatory. They were meant for the upper class, but all that is changing. Actually, the lower people, the small people, the little boys, because they're the big boys who actually can do without insurance. But as the smaller people, insurance has evolved over time to show that we can embrace it and utilize it better, because we have more to lose if we don't use it. So we have been a society that has been a victim of shock, suffered so many tragedies, and many times when we suffer those shocks, we never recover from them. So this program is going to help us build resilience. Resilience is a whole different other topic that we are going to discuss very shortly in possibly the next few minutes. But how can we better prepare for these things? How can we take up and we no longer become victims? Let us actually know that we're surrounded by risks every other day. Just waking up is a miracle, because you don't know what is God had prepared for you. But the mere fact that you have woken up, stepping out of the door, anything can happen. Not that we are prophets of doom, we're not scaring you, but these are the realities. There are many buildings we have seen collapse. You have gone to your shop and we don't know the materials the landlords used, and the building collapses. It collapses on both your materials, your products, or your business, but also it takes away life. So how do you take care of all these risks? Many times people have been forced to take on insurance because the banks are forcing us. Because you're taking out a loan, they want your collateral to be insured. But after it disappears, or after you clear the loan, you forget about insurance, or you think that the risk has disappeared. No, the risk hasn't disappeared. Many times, of course, insurance is also a law. When you talk about insurance or insua in Uganda, the first thing people remember is the third-party insurance. Because every vehicle that moves on the road has to have that insurance. And it also has a history to it. Just briefly, that was a policy that was set up in the early 90s to protect the citizens, the pedestrians, who can get damaged by your car. You know, people over speed. When you talk about third party, motor third party, we mean that there is the first party, who is the insurance company, the second party, who is the insured, then the third party is any other person that is going to be damaged by your car or your asset that has been insured. So if your car has knocked some other person and they identify it, we identified the insurance company that had provided it, that person has to demand the insurance company and they get a compensation of at least 1 million shillings in case that person dies. That is the law right now. And what's the cost for it? It's about 68,000 for a vehicle, a normal saloon car. How much goes to the insurance company? It's about 22,000 shillings. The rest are taxes. And no wonder people refer to insurance as Omusologwa government. It is a tax. The majority of it are taxes that go to government to pay the police officers and all the other services that we need on the road. And that's why the police people are very interested in looking out for that third party. And they actually fine you about 100,000 if they find they don't have it. So why don't you take it on? But also the other services that you offer. If you know that it's just going to cover bodily injury to a person you have knocked, but it's not going to take care of your car, why don't you take on something more advanced and that is more beneficial? So those are the discussions we are going to have on this show. For more, please keep tuned, keep on your TV set, keep on your YouTube channel, and we're going to get back to you right in a short while. Hope for the best while preparing for the worst. Welcome back from the break. The promise that is offering you a whole different ball game and different inspiring way of insuring your services, yourself, your assets, hard-earned assets in these turbulent times, in this new normal. Speaking of COVID, do you know that we have advanced some better packages that also take on COVID whenever you travel? So those are some of the solutions we are going to be providing to you. Of course, we are going to also bring to you the new products that are being innovated to cope with these new situations that we're living in, the new normal. Then these different providers are going to be bringing on board. They have to tell us their unique selling proposition. Why choose them over the other? Of course, the service is not just about pitching. In fact, it had become a bore. When you talk about insurance, some people would get easily turned off because there will be so many people selling different companies and all that, but without knowing the gist of this company, who they are, what they are all about, their foundation, and how solid they are. They have to know their reinsurers, a number of things. Then, again, I told you, let me remind you that we have a challenge that we want to make as the producers of this show, but also to you, the public, to be our partners, to build our insurance penetration. Uganda has one of the lowest penetrations in Africa. Yet we are known to be risk. I mean, we do a lot. We are one of the most entrepreneurial country in the world. But why is it that our business has collapsed after just 1 year or 2 years? It's because of these shocks that happen to us. Whether it is theft, burglary, fire, they just happen once when the business has caught up, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, and you're not able to recover. Yet if you had insurance, first of all, the penetration will grow, but also the economy will be sustained. So let us make a promise and a challenge to ourselves that we can build this penetration from 0.65% to about 2% in about 2 years. Now, what are the contents we're going to be showing? Of course, we're going to talk about, we shall get some viewers and captains of trade to tell us the history of the insurance sector generally. We shall bring on board our regulator who is a custodian of this industry, who makes the laws, and also will be put into task government to also start thinking of taking on insuring their assets. because it's an embarrassing thing when we see vehicles of police service vans getting accidents, and all they think about is buying new cars. Yet you can utilize the insurance service to take on, to repair, and to save. It's a cost-saving mechanism. We'll bring on the Insurers Association and to talk about the different packages they have. There's something special under the marine insurance, because there's also a law that we're going to start importing. Whenever we import, let's utilize the local insurers available here in Uganda, instead of using the suppliers who have only been insuring up to the port of destination, which in most cases, for our case in Uganda, it's Mombasa or Dar es Salaam. But for the rest of that journey up to your warehouse, whether in Kampala or Mbale or Soroti or Gulu, it won't be covered. Then we shall just talk about insurance and technology. That's a whole different space that is very interesting. Of course, we shall also reach out to various centers and try to get people here to talk in different languages so that we get to that person deepest. Because there are services, there's microinsurance that speaks to the person at the lower end of the world. We don't have to exclude anybody, much as we are aware the money economy only excludes actually about 67% of the population. We want to change that trend also for the insurance world, because even if you don't have a bank account now, you can actually take on a service. But of course, there are some few regulations. Then we shall talk about the celebration of cultural diversity. We have to learn from some of these people who have made it. We live with Indians, for instance, here in Uganda. They have embraced insurance because, first of all, they embrace saving. They need to teach us something in that area, in that space. They save a lot, but using insurance. They also protect themselves. And they use a lot of borders because they have protected themselves in that whole space. We shall learn from the Jewish culture. There are 6 jars of budgeting. There's so many things to talk about. We shall talk about agriculture insurance, another space that is our backbone actually, as Uganda. About a big percentage of our GDP comes from agriculture. So why not have these services? And there's a lot the government has done to subsidize that service as well. So we can't say it all, but just to leave you with these few facts and something that this show is going to help build. I want to build resilience. What is resilience? Resilience is that capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And that is exactly what insurance does. So it builds within, there's a sense of tough elasticity. We shall get people who will define for us these things. Then resilient people go through challenges, but they won't allow the challenges to go through them. Let these challenges we go through, the risks that are surrounding us, not define us. Let them find that we are more resilient, we're more ready for them, and so that we rise back. In other words, resilient people and nations don't crumble. We learn from our mistakes, and we bounce back, getting ready for the next race. Falling down may happen, but what matters is rising, pushing yourself to rise up. Then, of course, we also have to respect the power of memory and use it to build ourselves around that. So we need to face these brutal facts of our mistakes we have made. Possibly whenever these fires happen, the law successors will come and tell us those mistakes that we have made, the experiences we have gone through, then our sins, but more so, we shall be blessing others to improve and do the better. We hope we build a culture that gives back to community. Then resilience repairs the past as you go along. Now let me just talk about these 2 analogies. The tubeless tire and the tube car tire. I think for the older generation, I think even people who are riding bicycles, those have tubes. Whenever they get a puncture, the tire just deflates and it leaves you stranded up to the time you go to repair that puncture, and then you can be able back to move. You have to pump that more pressure into it. Now, there is a difference between that and the tubeless tire. The tubeless tire will run for a while, even when it has a nail in place. It will be losing little air in the process, but it will move you and it will push you up to the time it will get repaired. And thus, it will bounce back. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this short for tonight's show, or this evening show of The Promise, I want to encourage us and tell you that we have all been designed by God to be resilient through some of the things that He has placed around us. Of course, we used to use the community some time back. The community would help us. We were social beings. When living in some kind of socialist environment, whereby we rely on our brothers and sisters, our grandparents, our parents, to take care of us whenever we are vulnerable or whenever we are hit with disaster. But now we have to find a way of doing it ourselves. As long as God has blessed you with a job or has blessed you with an income, try to safeguard something to protect you in that time you're most vulnerable, when no one can take care of you apart from yourself, because everyone has their own challenges right now. We can't rely on them any longer. So resilient people are afflicted in every way, but are not crushed. They are perplexed, but are not despairing. They are persecuted, but they are not forsaken. They are struck down, but not destroyed. But we also need to know that if we make an analogy of also a ball that our children play with to bounce, to kick around, these balls, you will notice that they are designed to bounce. But when they go flat, they mean that they are faulty. Possibly something critical is missing, which in this case is the air. So it just needs pumping. So what is that pump and what's that air we need to pump into you so that you can take responsibility or you can take charge of your life for whatever risk that may occur to you. And we have to identify also the holes that are there that are bringing your hope to despair. But it could also be the environment you're in. Could it be a wet ball? And when you need to just dry it up, because of course bouncing on water it's hard. So maybe you need to put it in a drier place. But sometimes we dry it so much and it ends up burning. So it kills the whole ball. But with that air, it will build us as a people who are going to embrace insurance to first of all improve the hope, the anticipation, the optimism. There are two things here. There is hope and love. The love is the affection. We shall be more happy people if you have that peace of mind that you have been insured, whatever risk that has happened. You will be more adventurous whenever you are going out anywhere. So you will be more lovable and you will be less irritable and moody whenever that issue happens. The workers will live at our businesses. In case, yes, they do collusions, we have solutions to all that. They can do collusions and they wipe out your whole business. How have you taken care of that? How have you taken care of the money that you move from your premises to the banks? How have you taken care of the fires that can easily start from the neighbor because of poor electricity connection? Sometimes you're not there and there are short circuits at night. That most fires actually begin at night when electricity, because of load shedding, was off. And when you come back the following day, it had come back and sparked off something and wipes out the whole marketplace. So these are the solutions that we're going to be learning. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. And I invite you to keep tuning in for the next show. We're going to be on this very station. And we are promising to bring you more guests who are going to give you more insight into this service, into the promises they're going to make as an institution, and to see the better well-being of us as a people. Let us be more, of course, these life challenges that are going to be available, they are going to help us persevere and it will build our character, which character will build our hope, and this hope will help us bounce back. Hope for the best while preparing for the worst. I'm Emmanuel Sanyu Safali, bring you the promise, and I sign out. Thank you. Tune in next time.